There's a door at the end of the hallway, slightly open, the way it's been since they left. She didn't close it, still hasn't. The bed is made. She made it herself, weeks after they were gone, out of habit. Nobody asked her to. Nobody sleeps in it anymore. The room still smells like them, faintly. Just enough. She pauses at the door, doesn't go in, just stands there with something she doesn't have a word for yet, and then keeps walking. Later that morning, she sits down to write a grocery list. She writes his name at the top, the way she has for 20 years. First thing, without thinking, because that's how the list always started. What he needs, what to get for him. She stops, stares at it, and then, slowly, crosses it out. Some grief doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with a funeral or a phone call in the middle of the night. It just moves in quietly. While the world is busy congratulating her, sets down its bags, stays. Everyone said, "You must be so proud." And she is. She genuinely is. But she's also not okay. And both of those things are true at the same time. And the world only ever wants to hear one of them. Nobody told her she was allowed to feel both. Maybe you've been calling it something else. Adjustment, transition, just taking time to get used to the quiet. Maybe it's simpler than that, and harder. She wakes at 6 in the morning, no alarm, no reason, just awake, in the dark, the way she's been waking for 20 years, because someone needed her to be. Except nobody needs her to be, not anymore. She lies there for a moment, and the ceiling doesn't give her anything back. She cooks too much food, sets the table and counts wrong, sets one extra without noticing, the way her hands have always done it. She stands there with the extra plate, just holding it. She does the laundry, carries the basket back down the hallway, and it's lighter than she expected. She stops, stands there holding a basket that used to take 2 arms to carry, and it's just lighter now. The body doesn't get the news right away. It keeps living the old life, while the new one has already quietly begun. If you're still waking at the right time for a school that's empty now, you're not broken. You're just adjusting to a silence you didn't know would be this loud. The house is exactly the same. Everything is different. Everything. I know something about preparing a space for someone who doesn't come to fill it. About a room that stays ready. About a silence that has a shape. That kind of silence has a specific weight to it. She knows it. And the world offers nothing for it. There's no ceremony for this. No flowers at the door. No one calling to check in. No one bringing food. No one sitting with her in it. Because as far as the world is concerned, she has nothing to grieve. Her children are alive. They're well. They left because she did everything right. So she carried it alone, quietly, while everyone called it success. Nobody brought casseroles. Nobody called it grief. Nobody came. She found a grocery list last month, her own handwriting. Juice boxes. Those crackers he liked. The cereal nobody else in the house would touch. She doesn't need any of it anymore. She kept the list anyway. She doesn't know why. The grief is real because the love was real. You don't grieve what didn't matter. The size of what she's feeling right now is the exact size of what she built over 20 years. They're the same thing, the same measure. The role didn't end. It changed shape. But the self that organized itself around the daily weight of it, the drives, the lunches, the questions at the kitchen table, the noise, the constancy of just being needed. That self needs time. Time to find out what it is when the weight lifts. The grief is proof she did it right. She raised them to leave. That was always the whole point. From the very beginning, that was the point. And she did it. They left. And now she's standing in the hallway of a life she built perfectly, not knowing what comes next. This isn't an ending. It's a doorway. But you have to actually walk through it, not around it, not past it. She has to be inside the grief before she can be through it. And underneath all of it, she's still there. Quieter maybe, but there. If you don't know who you are right now, without the daily weight of them, that's not a crisis. That's where it starts. I'm not going to tell you it passes quickly. I don't think that's true. Some women move through this in a season. Some carry it for years. Some carry it quietly for the rest of their lives and never fully name it. And that's not failure. That's just how long it takes sometimes. If there's a marriage, she looks across the table one evening and realizes she doesn't quite know who's sitting there anymore. The kids were the third language between them, the conversation that held everything together, and now it's just two people in a house that was built for more. If she's alone, the silence has doubled, and she didn't know it could. Some days it lifts. She feels like herself, actually like herself, and she thinks, maybe that's it. Maybe the worst of it is past. And then it comes back, without warning, without reason. And that second arrival is sometimes harder than the first, because she didn't see it coming. She may have to build a self she's never met before. Nobody tells you that's part of it. Nobody tells you it's going to be terrifying. She didn't lose them, but she lost something real. People say, you must love the quiet. She smiles. She does not love the quiet. Because the quiet isn't peaceful. It's the specific absence of everything that used to fill it. The homework spread across the kitchen table. The backpack dropped in the hallway right where she'd asked them not to drop it. The television on in the next room for no reason at all. That noise. That particular, unremarkable, taken for granted noise. People say, now you have time for yourself. She smiles at that too. She doesn't know what that means yet. She's not sure she ever learned how to take up that kind of space. She went to wash the dishes this morning. There was a cereal bowl in the sink she didn't recognize putting there. She stood for a moment, trying to remember. Then it came back. She put it there herself. She just forgot. She misses the noise. She'd never say that. If what you miss most isn't Christmas morning, but an ordinary Tuesday, you understand exactly what this is. You've been carrying this for a while now, without a name for it, without anyone seeing it. The world kept moving, and you kept moving with it, because that's what you do. But I want you to hear this. You are allowed to grieve something that didn't end, it just changed shape. You are allowed to miss them, even though they're fine. You are allowed to not know who you are right now. That's not weakness. That's honest. Nobody gets to tell you how long this takes. Nobody. I'm not telling you what comes next. I genuinely don't know what comes next for you. But something is on the other side of this. Not the same version of you that walked into it. Something else. Something that hasn't introduced itself yet. She doesn't have to find it today. She doesn't have to be ready. She doesn't have to be anything right now except honest about where she is. I think the grief knows what it's doing, even when she doesn't. She's back in the hallway. Same door, slightly open. Same made bed, same faint smell that hasn't left yet. She pauses, just like before. The grief is still there. It'll be there tomorrow. But it has a name now, and named things are different. Not smaller, not lighter, just known. There's a difference between carrying something in the dark and carrying something you can finally see. She keeps walking, the same way she did before, but differently. The room is the same room. She is not the same woman. Not yet.